Hello everyone, Mikey Bustos here, aka AntsCanada, and welcome to the AntsCanada Ant channel. I'm your resident YouTube ant nerd guy, and welcoming all of you curious ant, I guess, keepers to be, and ant enthusiasts. I really am excited to show you this video because this is a product that I've been wanting to release for quite a while, and it's well, in essence, perhaps the largest Formicarium we've ever released at the AntsCanada Ant Store at AntsCanada.com. And so here it is. It's called our AntsCanada Ant Box. And essentially, what it is it's an acrylic Formicarium that is bound together by nuts and bolts. It's a two-in-one. So you have a nest portion right here, and you have the outworld section, which is at the top. And they connect together. Now, if I carefully move this unit to the side, you can have a better look at what the design is like. Now here you have, of course, the nest part, which is kind of like your classic Uncle Milton ant farm, where you have two panes of, in this case, acrylic together, with about a centimeter of space, where you fill it with whatever digging medium you'd like to use, whether it be soil, sand, a mix of vermiculite. Some people like to use loam, whatever you like to use, and essentially you give the ants the opportunity to dig and to create their tunnels. Now, the reason why we've created it so big was because we wanted this Formicarium to offer your ants the opportunity to create tunnels as they would in the wild. And in a smaller unit, they would be digging, but you wouldn't be able to see the various patterns that, digging patterns, I should say, that they probably would do in the wild. And the great part about this Formicarium as well is it allows the ants to create an ant hill, an ant mound. So what they'll do is they'll pretty much mine their tunnels and dump the grains of sand or whatever digging medium you have them dig through towards the top here, and essentially creating a sloping anthill cross section. So that's what makes this AntsCanada Ant Box really unique. It allows you to see a cross section essentially of what an anthill looks like, both underground and above ground. And of course, here is the part where you place all of the food and water into this outworld section here. And because it's all flat, the medium will kind of just level off like this, and they likely won't be able to dig. What you want to do is, when you have your ants housed in here, you just kind of want to water this portion of the nest and keep this section rather dry as much as you can. Now, let me show you. So this is how it is. You've got some legs at the back to keep it sturdy, and this here, of course, is very sturdy. When you receive it in the mail, it's disassembled. So this box part comes in one piece, this leg is another piece, and this whole front part is another piece, and you essentially can screw it on by way of these very secure bolts here. And they are, of course, stainless steel, so they don't rust. What I would recommend is, once you do assemble, that you also take a hot glue gun or some silicone caulking, and you line all the spaces just in case, especially if you have really, really small ants. I would totally recommend that. But that's up to you. Here you have holes, of course, which can give access to tubing in case you want to connect more of these AntsCanada ant boxes together, or if you wanted to attach them to another outworld or to another Formicarium. It's totally up to you. You can also just plug these up. Now let me show you the top here. The top of the AntsCanada ant box. Let me turn this to the side. Just one sec. Let me remove what's inside, and I'll show you what's inside in a moment. It's got a cover. You see that there? And it's got holes as well. The really, really tiny holes at the top. Essentially, what you want to do is you want to line this whole top section with whatever deterrent you're using, whether it be Fluon or Vaseline or baby powder mixed with alcohol or mineral oil, whatever it is, just so that they don't have access to this part here. It's great because in case you have other pets or other children running around, you can keep other animals and people and the forces away from your ants, keep your ants safe. So yeah, these locks here kind of move to the side, and this is kind of loose. I still have to screw this a little bit tighter. Again, they're attached by little tiny screws, and you can simply remove the top like so. See that? Very convenient. Now, if you look at the inside, there's a piece that goes inside. Now, I made sure to include a piece like this because when you have a lot of loose debris and loose, I guess, digging substrate, digging medium, oftentimes, if you have test tubes full of water for providing water for your colonies, the debris and substrate can get into the tube and drain that water out. So I've put this in there so you guys have that option to place your test tubes in here just to keep as much of the loose substrate separate from your test tube. Now, the great thing about this too is it's got a dual purpose. These trays, I guess, also have really, really tiny holes here. And what you can also do is use it to water your nest portion of the Formicarium very gradually instead of just, having to, I don't know, pour like a cup of water down here and just really causing a lot of abrupt, sudden rain. You can have it happen slowly by just placing this right on top of the substrate, and then you pour water into the tray, and the water slowly seeps through those tiny holes, and through simple capillary action or whatever substrate absorption, the water gets distributed nice and evenly, nice and slowly. So you have that here. You can also have it as a feeding tray, up to you, totally up to you guys, what you want to use that for. So that's in there as well. And I'm going to place this cover back to the top. Another great thing about the AntsCanada Ant Box is these legs at the back are totally removable. So if you wanted to remove this, you could do so. And then of course you place the nuts and bolts back into the holes. And you can have the entire unit sit on the side of a desk or even on a shelf, on the wall perhaps. And basically you could have the nest portion kind of in a sort of hanging, suspended sort of setup, and that's a really cool thing to do as well. It's definitely great with space, even though it is such a large formicarium. One thing I should also mention is you have to make sure that you screw these on very tightly because you don't want them wobbly. The entire unit is very secure, it can stand on its own, even with the substrate in it, but you do have to make sure these screws are tied tightly and securely. And in essence, that there is the AntsCanada Ant Box. I'm really proud to release this because, well, it's something that I feel is a different and unique way to house ants, to keep them. I have in our other products, aside from the AntsCanada Habitat Nest Burrow, don't really offer true digging, for the ants, but this Formicarium does, and it's particularly useful for those ants that just really enjoy digging. I find there are some ants that really adapt well to Formicariums that don't necessarily have a substrate, or Formicariums that are half substrate, like our AntsCanada Habitat Nests. And those species are, like, for example, Camponotus. But there are some ants that I know that really enjoy and appreciate you giving them the chance to dig. Ants like those include Lasius. I find a lot of the Lasius neoniger, Alienus, species like that, they really enjoyed in my experience, living in habitat nests because they were able to move some substrate around, and also in formicariums with a digging medium. Formica as well really enjoy digging. They really like digging, and these formicine ants use the small substrate and debris to help their larvae pupate and form cocoons. So it really is an integral part of their lives in the natural wild. And this AntsCanada ant box totally allows them to do that. It allows them to build a mound. This here is very tall, so even if the mound reaches up to here, it's still okay. You don't have to worry about that. And in fact, this whole section at the top here is blocked. You see that? So even if the mound reaches to the top there, it's still okay. Um, and yeah, I'm really happy with the turnout of this product, and I feel like you guys will really like it as well. I myself am looking for a digging species here in Manila, Philippines. My species of, well, I guess my most desirable digging species that I'm looking for is Phaedologeton diversus, which is a very polymorphic ant with huge supermajors. And they're naturally available here in Philippines. And I am looking for a queen so that I could possibly house her in this. And I'll be saving this setup for when I do find a digging species. The great thing about this nest as well is you can place your queens directly into this formicarium. You can totally skip the test tube stage. You know, you just place the queen in here. She'll naturally find this area which has depth, and she'll start to dig her own tunnel, create her own claustral cell, and you get to see that whole process of her raising her own young, having the nanitics, the first generation of workers, arrive, and then having them expand from the claustral chamber to create the rest of the nest. So it's really a very holistic way of keeping ants and experiencing ants as the colony grows. So I hope you guys like this video and like this new product if you do get to pick it up. It really is a product that's special to me, and I think will really do well at housing your ants. And thanks again, everyone, for the support. All of you guys are sending in some amazing questions, and it really seems like serious ant keeping is picking up, which is great news. And for those of you in North America, it's a new anting season, so everyone's excited to get out there and find their own queens. Thank you guys so much, and thank you so much for the support. We continue to promise to deliver you the best ant keeping products. Thanks guys, and love forever. Bye.